Part 119. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1182. The world is shocked. What happened? Above the immortal land, there is an immortal river pouring down, pouring into Taiyang continent. Not just the immortal land, but also the Holy Land. The source energy of the Holy Path on the Holy Land is like a river converging towards the Holy Land of Kunlun at the junction of Taiyang continent and Taiyang continent. Kunlun Holy Land? That is the place where the Taiyang Empress and the Sun Ancient Emperor once chose to create the world. It has been sealed in dust for countless years, and now it is about to be unraveled. Could it be that the Sun and Moon Emperors are going to create the world? The road. Just who pays attention? After the reappearance of Fairy Land and Holy Land, will the road to creation also begin? The road to creation aims to create a new pure land of life and hide it in the years in order to survive. In the late period of the fire-raising era, this road was even considered the most promising road by the whole world. Unfortunately, the Taiyang Empress and the ancient Sun Emperor were obliterated by the darkness. The Xuanhuan Emperor Ting only rose up later to fight against the darkness and became the mainstream. The world is talking about it. At the same time, on the fairy land, the Black and White Emperor, with one step, has reached Xuanhuan Peak. In front of Xuanhuan Peak, many disciples from the Divine Moon Emperor's court had already left. After they activated the formation, they used the formation to teleport directly to the Kunlun Holy Land to prepare for the next creation. Black and White glanced at the field, and suddenly, he found a blank rice paper on the ground. On top of the rice paper, there is a strand of blood-stained hair. This piece of extraordinary paper seems to be related to Senior Li. He whispered, with an unknown thought in his black and white eyes, and put away his blood-stained hair and rice paper. Then, his figure disappeared from the place, and in the blink of an eye, he entered the vast Holy Land. On the Holy Land, there is a stretch of majestic mountains, and the aura of the holy source among the mountains and rivers has also disappeared. Among the mountains and rivers, there are several blood symbols that have been consumed. Black and White frowned slightly, and immediately put away the blood talismans. Senior Li. Are you planning the road to creation? He vaguely noticed something. Although the road to creation cannot completely save the world, it is indeed the route that causes the darkness the most headaches. Once it is realized, a new world will escape into time and space, and it will not be found without a lot of trouble. Out. Black and White murmured, saying, maybe I have to go to a small mountain village. He had already contacted Huolinger and Muwanking and knew that they were heading to the small mountain village with Qing Chen and others. He immediately disappeared from where he was. Now, Kaiwenzo, Qing Chen, Lu Rang, Huolinger, and Muwanking had already landed in front of the fearful beast mountain forest. It should be deep in this area. Huolinger spoke. They also didn't know the exact location of the small mountain village. Immediately, the group of people headed towards the depths of the Terror Beast Mountain Forest. Not long after, they finally saw a small mountain village located quietly in the depths of the Terror Mountain Forest. Smoke curls from cooking pots and dogs and chickens hear each other. In the turbulent taboo world, the small mountain village is like a peaceful paradise. Master, we are back. Seeing the small mountain village, Lu Rang burst into tears. I don't know how Sister Spider and the others are doing. Qing Chen also whispered, smiled slightly, and said, let's go back to the village. At the same time, in front of the small mountain village, yellow smoke billowed and Black and White also appeared. Great Emperor. Huolinger and others looked at him. There have been changes in the Kunlun Holy Land. I have found these things, which should be related to the two disciples of Senior Li. Therefore, I came here to pay homage to Senior Li. Black and White opened his mouth and took out the blood-stained hair, rice paper, and blood talisman. Senior Sister Xiling. Junior brother Lin. Qing Chen and Lu Rang both reacted immediately. What happened to them? Why are they all stained with blood? Lu Rang became anxious and said. Let's go back to the village quickly. Now. In a small mountain village, in a small courtyard. Master, are you okay? Dugu Yuking and others looked at Li Fan nervously. They saw with their own eyes that Li Fan painted with his brush and painted a space-time of the holy path. Moreover, in the end, he even bit his finger and used a drop of blood to give life to the time and space of the holy way. At the moment when the drop of blood fell, they clearly felt that Li Fan was like a vast galaxy. Suddenly there were strong winds and waves sweeping across the galaxy. Thousands of chi machines were surging, and endless sources were rushing. At the same time, they felt that Li Fan was different from before. In the past, Li Fan was impeccable, and even occasionally made them feel distant, like light and shadow, but now, Li Fan gave them a feeling that was more real. This made them unsure whether Li Fan's condition was good or bad. It's just a small thing. Li Fan spoke casually and took a look at the Holy Path calendar. He was quite satisfied, and then he picked up the teacup and took a slow sip. Drawing this wall calendar took a lot of effort. Master, must have paid a heavy price. Dugu Yuking whispered and murmured. Otherwise, given our state of mind, it would be impossible to feel the fluctuation of his origin energy just now. Xuanhuan clenched his fists and said. Master has awakened the time and space of the holy way, we have to work hard and grow up quickly. Suddenly, they all continued to attack the realm. The fire of their own holy path has been ignited, and the next level is the casting of tools, also known as the Palace of Life. Master, I seem to be a person without faith. What should I do? Am I not worthy of living? At this time, Wu Dade looked at Li Fan with confusion and grievance on his face. Xuanhuan, Dugu Yuking, and Subakian have all ignited the fire of the holy way and begun to build their own palace of life. However, he didn't move at all, he was anxious. However, he really doesn't know what he believes in. It is simply a big loss for being uneducated. When Li Fan heard this, he smiled slightly and said, Dear Virtue, let me ask you, if one day your master dies, all your brothers and sisters die, even Dehe leaves you, and everything in the village dies, what will you do at that time? When Wu Dade heard this, he was startled for a moment. When he imagined such a scene, he couldn't help but feel a little scared and said, Master, that won't happen, right? Li Fan said, What if? Wu Dade said, If such a day comes, Master, and you are all gone, the dead dog is gone, and the village is gone, then my life in this world will be meaningless. Li Fan smiled bleakly and said, Yes, when everything related to you in this world dies, and when you look back at the years, only the past is left to taste. At that time, every person and everything in your memories will become a knife that slowly cuts into your soul. You are in great pain. Living itself is meaningless, but the people and things related to us in this world make life meaningful. And the meaning of life itself is also a kind of faith. Faith is not only a distant dream or a grand Tao, but also the daily necessities and joys that are visible to the naked eye and the joys and sorrows within our reach. You can gain insight into the faith of life and find the meaning of life in the ordinary, but this requires some discovery, looking back on your life, the part you cherish most, the most reluctant to part with, and the most yearned for is the meaning of your life. Li Fan said casually. And Wu Dade was finally thoughtful at this moment. Even Xuanhuan, Dugu Yuking, Subakian, and others next to him also realized something. The fire of life is ultimately to create the palace of life. The palace of life is the perfection of the five elements. Only by finding the meaning of life can the foundation of the palace of life be solid. At this moment, Li Fan's few words made them all look into their own hearts. The part that I cherish the most reluctant to part with, and the most yearned for. Wu Dade muttered. Actually, it's nothing, I can always stay in the village like this with everyone, help Uncle Zhang raise pigs, raise dogs in the yard, eat and drink well, and not have too many worries. In his mind, every moment in the village over the past few years flashed back. That was the pain of being hummed by the second uncle's pig. That's the fear when being chased and bitten by a big black dog. That was the surprise when I took the first bite of Master's cooking. It was the peace of mind of having a banquet with the brothers and being dragged back by the Master after falling drunk on the floor. At this moment, his fire of life was burning brightly. In the vast land of nothingness, on the boundless land, there seemed to be a palace of life in the fire, which was slowly being smelted out. In that palace of life are the emotions and the most cherished memories he treasures in his heart. Those things are enough to support him through suffering and disaster. At this moment, Wu Dade's 5 elements were perfect. The last realm of the 5 elements, the realm of casting, is complete. He was uneducated and thought very little. Instead, he first touched his heart at this moment and saw the meaning of his heart. Because the more people like him, the more pure and direct their emotions are. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 1183. Senior brother Date is so powerful, he smelted the life palace. Subakian was surprised. Longzixuan and Duguyuking were also a little surprised. But in the blink of an eye, Wu Dade's realm surpassed them. Although they have found the direction, they are not as pure and direct as Wu Dade, so the life palace has not yet been completely formed. Is Master at home? At this time, outside the small courtyard, there was a sudden knock on the door. Li Fan was about to pack away the ancient bronze lamp and the holy path wall calendar. Hearing this, he couldn't help but be startled. This is Lu Rang's voice. It's senior brother Lu Rang and the others. Subakian was also surprised. Gongya has already stepped forward to open the door. I saw Lu Rang and Qing Chen walking in, and with them, there were 3 other people. The Black and White Emperor, Huo Ling Mu Wanking. Junior brother Lu Rang, you are finally back. Longzixuan and others were very happy. Li Fan couldn't help but be a little surprised. These 2 disciples actually came back on their own. He nodded and said, "Just come back." When Lu Rang and Qing Chen saw everything familiar in the small courtyard, and then saw Li Fan, Longzixuan, etc., they both felt a little hot in their eyes. "Why are you here too?" Lu Rang looked at Longzixuan and asked. "Master asked us to come back." Longzixuan spoke, and the sound transmission told everything that happened before and after. Hearing this, both Lu Rang and Qing Chen were immediately shocked. It turns out that the collapse of the imperial court such as the Thunder Road and the Water Road was all the work of the Master. Don't you want him to follow the path of a spark that starts a prairie fire? Moreover, they also saw 4 ancient bronze lamps on the stone table next to Li Fan, as well as the wall calendar of the time and space of the Holy Path. The Immortal Land and the Holy Land are both created by Master's brush. The Lamp of Origin was collected by Master. The 2 of them looked at each other. Then, Qing Chen immediately stepped forward and said, "Master, we brought back 2 lamps." They took out the 2 lamps of origin. The black lights have been lit. Li Fan was slightly happy when he saw these 2 lamps. 2 more lamps were added. Now there are 6 lights. According to what the system said, you only need to wait until you collect all 9 lights, and you will be invincible. Although the credibility of the system has been greatly compromised in his opinion, it is still a hope. More importantly, it would be better if this black lamp did not fall into the hands of villagers. Li Fan took the 2 lamps and looked at them carefully. It was exactly as he expected. The inscriptions on the 2 lamps were similar to the 4th lamp, and they were also similar to those on the Holy Path calendar left by Master Tiao. This also proves that there is no problem with the time and space of the holy path he drew. Li Fan immediately put the two lamps aside, and then looked at the three people who came with Qing Chen and Lu Rang. Black and white, Huo Ling Mu Wanking. You three, long time no see. Li Fan smiled slightly. With a hint of excitement in his black and white eyes, he saluted Li Fan and said, "Greetings, senior." Huo Ling and Mu Wanking also followed suit. They were all shocked to the extreme. Before the birth of Immortal Land and Holy Land, they guessed that it must be related to Senior Li. However, seeing it with their own eyes now, this impact made them even more complicated. Senior Li just painted randomly in the small courtyard, but in the vast historical time and space, the lost land of civilization has reappeared, and the pattern of the entire world has been rewritten. Senior Li is the one who really plays chess in this world. No need to be polite, please take a seat quickly, Gong Ya, pour tea for everyone. Li Fan spoke. Immediately, Black and White, Huo Ling and Mu Wanking also sat down. How has the development been over the past few years? Li Fan asked. He was quite surprised. He remembered that Black and White, Huo Ling and Mu Wanking didn't seem to be the same group of people. It seemed that they were in one place. Black and White nodded and said, "All the best. 4 words explain everything. Hei Bai came here because he discovered something, which should belong to your 2 apprentices." He immediately took out the bloody hair, rice paper, and the blood talisman. Senior Sister Xiling. Subakian suddenly spoke nervously. Junior Brother Lin. Wu Date and others were also surprised. Li Fan saw this and took it over, frowning slightly. Could it be that the 2 disciples were in danger? This object should come from Taiyang continent and Sun continent. Black and White opened his mouth and said, "There have been changes in these 2 continents recently, but Miss Xiling and Mr. Lin should not be in danger yet. I have sent people to investigate." Black and White also knew a thing or two about the road to creation. Now that the Holy Land of Kunlun has just opened, even if he is jealous of the darkness, the danger should not have come yet. Li Fan felt relieved after hearing this, and since Black and White had sent people to look for him, it would be useless no matter how anxious he was now. It's getting late today, let Date and the others go out tomorrow. Li Fan made a decision. Trouble. He thanked Black and White. Black and White said, "I received great help from my seniors. This is just a simple effort. How dare you say it's troublesome?" Li Fan couldn't help but smile and said, "How about we have a talk before dinner is done?" Li Fan has not played chess for a long time since Yongzi and Zhang Ledu left. Now that he saw Black and White coming, he became slightly more interested. The main thing is that now Black and White has helped a lot. Li Fanzi was once obsessed with chess, and he was a rare chess master. However, there are still many places where chess skills are not perfected. Talking about a game in hand and helping him improve 1 or 2 things can be regarded as a return gift. Black and White nodded and said, "Good." Immediately, the 2 set up a chessboard. Black and White take the lead. The 2 sides went back and forth, and soon they played more than a dozen pieces, and the chess strategy began to take shape. Not bad. Li Fan spoke approvingly. Today's Black and White and chess skills are far better than those of the past. His chess skills have become so good that they seem to be endless, like reincarnation. Senior, can this chess technique last forever? Black and White asked. He had gained the path to reincarnation in his previous life, and was only 1 step away from reaching the Supreme. But, after all, there was a step missing. Li Fan said. The situation changes and the chess moves go back and forth. It is of course possible to touch the endless path, but the endless path can still be broken and there are still traces to follow. Hei Bai was shocked when he heard this. Reincarnation is a supreme avenue, and if you cultivate it to the supreme state, It is called endless. However, Senior Li said, there is no end, it can still be broken, and there are traces to follow. It's not the way to be invincible. So, even if he achieves supreme enlightenment in this life, so what? Li Fan continued. If you want to go further in reincarnation, you must see no beginning from the starting point, and see no end from the end point, no beginning and no end, no trace of coming and going, no trace of life and death. He smiled slightly and said, this is also the ultimate in chess skills. The ultimate in chess skills, no beginning or end. Black and White's heart was shocked. At this moment, he clearly felt that Li Fan pushed open the door to the end of the road to reincarnation for him with just a few words, and led him to see the more distant scenery behind the door. There is no beginning and no end, the ultimate in chess. He naturally understood that what Li Fan said about the ultimate in chess actually meant the true end of practice. No beginning, no end, no half step ahead. He has figured out his way. Through the step-by-step practice of reincarnation, one can reach the state of endlessness, and can also achieve the supreme. However, there is no beginning and no end, which is the supreme road that can transcend many. Black and White are taught. Black and White stood up and saluted. Good night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1184. After dinner. Black and White, Huo Linger, and Mu Wanqing have resigned. Nowadays, the road to the creation of the secret world of reincarnation has attracted the attention of the world. Moreover, Mu Jianing and Wu Xiaoqan have already gone to Taiying continent and Sun continent, so naturally they have to rush there immediately. Li Fan put all 5 ancient bronze lamps back into the study. After adding kerosene to the 2 newly arrived bronze lamps, he went back to rest. Among the 6 ancient bronze lamps, the black flames were erratic. In the black flames, 6 identical men suddenly appeared, sitting cross-legged on the wicks. That night, although the ancient books on the bookshelf were trembling, they did not dare to approach them. No one fired the longbow hanging on the wall, and an arrow was already placed on the bowstring. But the rusty sword made a slight sound. In the small courtyard. 6 lights. The voice of the old hen sounded and said, soon. The road to creation has begun. The other side of darkness will not tolerate the success of the road to creation. I am afraid there will be a war. The road to creation can take a part of the world and escape into the years. And the dark vault will not sit back and let life leave this life and survive in other years. Just fight. What are you afraid of? If this continues, the master's level will really fall to the bottom. On the other side of the pond, the voice of the dragon clan came, and the words were full of dissatisfaction, saying, if the master falls down, all the strong men in the world will become lambs waiting to be killed. Why not fight like this? Maybe there is still a glimmer of hope. The old hen gave a cold look to the other side of the pond and said, you are so courageous to kill the stopper and the dark one first. Dragon King said, it's so difficult to kill those who stop and hide. At this time, Dosha's voice slowly sounded, saying, but if you take one step outside the village, you will die. King Gli's words were so calm, and she said, the entire universe is shrouded in that kind of power, and there is only this pure land in the vast starry sky. So what if you have endless fighting power? It's just a passing cloud. Hearing this, the dragon clan was speechless. Although you and I are supreme, we are just like ants. The old hen whispered and said, there have been many supremely powerful people throughout the ages, but as long as they cannot cross that embankment, they will be no different from dust. They will lie down under the embankment and turn into dark ancestors. Even if the master took a look at that embankment in the past, he would have suffered 9 deaths. The words are filled with a sense of powerlessness. The embankment involves the greatest weirdness and the greatest ominousness in this world. Can we only wait for the master's origin to be lost and sit back and wait for death? The dragon clan is very unwilling. Wait. The peach tree whispered. It's almost time. After an eternal struggle, the outcome will be determined. I believe in the master. He is the only one who has looked across the dam and returned alive. Darkness can no longer kill the master, I'm just worried. The old hen said. The end of 10,000 paths. The branches of the peach tree fell gently in the wind, saying. The method of creation was created by the end of 10,000 paths in the past. She wanted everyone to escape into the years and hide, but she did not succeed. Now, this route has been restarted, but she has fallen into darkness. The end of this road is ominous. The old hen said. The most important thing is, the road to creation is clear, and she will see the darkness in the ocean of cause and effect. When the time comes, how will the master choose? The next day. In the early morning, Li Fan woke up, stretched out and touched Xiaobai in his arms. After getting up and washing up, he was quite pleased to see that the popularity of the small courtyard was gradually recovering. Long Xuanhuan, as always, sat on the edge of the pond, watching the fish without moving. Qing Chen was very diligent. He took a broom and swept the floor first, then sat up cross-legged under the Bodhi tree. A black spider crawled around in the palm of his hand, but he remained motionless with a smile on his lips. Subakian took care of her medicine field, and the little fox followed beside her, playing happily with the little unicorn, little wolf, etc. The little golden cow followed Lu Rang and nuzzled him affectionately. Lu Rang was weeding the vegetable field and feeding the hoed grass to the little golden cow. Wu Dade was feeding the chickens over there, occasionally making 1 or 2 screams. Li Fan smiled slightly. That's it, it's good. Master, please have a meal. Gongya brought breakfast, vegetable and lean meat porridge, boiled eggs, and soy milk. Everyone gathered together and had breakfast. Dade Master, Lu Rang, please go to Taiyang continent and look for Xiling and Zhujian. After eating, Li Fan spoke. Okay Master. Wu Dade and Lu Rang nodded. The two began to prepare things, and Li Fan stood up, stretched, and said. I'm going to the study. Immediately, he entered the study. In the study, 6 ancient bronze lamps are still burning. Li Fan sat down and took out a painting. There is a beautiful woman in the painting, light and peerless. He looked at the painting and remained silent for a long time. And in the small courtyard, Lu Rang went to dig a lot of peach root soil and water, and brought the little Xuanhuan with him. Wu Dade, at the big black dog's signal, uprooted Xiling's pony, Lin Zhujian's little unicorn, and even their original divine grapes and unicorn fruit trees, and took them away. Then, they got up and left. After walking out of the small courtyard and all the way out of the small mountain village, when passing by the second uncle's small courtyard, the big black dog suddenly said again. Wow, my pet, hurry up, pick up some bricks and take them with you. Its paw pointed at a pile of discarded bricks beside the second uncle's yard. Wu Dade said. Damn dog, you asked me to lead horses and unicorns, plucking trees and grapes, but now you want me to carry bricks. You are not so kind. But the big black dog was angry and said. Ignorant pet, what do you know? Do it quickly, or I will bite you to death. It bared its teeth. Wu Dade said angrily. You bitch, you're going too far. Then, he mumbled and stepped forward and picked up a bag of bricks. After everything was ready, we left the village. Dead dog, do you know which direction Taiyang continent is? Wu Dade asked the big black dog. The big black dog said disdainfully. Certainly. With that said, it began to construct the teleportation array. Now, at the junction of Taiyang continent and Sun continent, there is a dusty secret realm, the Kunlun secret realm. Since ancient times, this secret land has been filled with countless legends. As early as the late period of the Fire Era, before Emperor Xuanhuan became emperor, this place was regarded as a holy land on earth. After the ancestors of the 12 ancestors died in the darkness, the ancestors were killed. The Empress of Taiyang and the ancient Emperor of the Sun, with great courage, found the stone of the world and built it on the holy land of Kunlun to create a pure land for the world. If you succeed, you can escape into time and escape the threat of darkness. During those years, all the great emperors in the world were waiting, and the powerful regarded the Kunlun Holy Land as their only hope. But, the success failed, both ancient emperors were strangled by darkness, and the holy realm of Kunlun was covered in dust. Now, the immortal land has reappeared and the holy land has been reborn. On top of the immortal land and the holy land, rivers are pouring in, opening up the dust-covered secret realm. For a time, the world's attention was focused on it, and many people were reminded of the ancient path of creation. With the opening of the Kunlun sacred realm, is the road to creation about to be restarted. It is very possible that the successors of the Taiyang Empress and the ancient Sun Emperor, the Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor, have already sent people there, and the movement on the Holy Land and Immortal Land is probably caused by them. The Golden Age, if the road to creation can be opened up, we may be able to escape into the time and be free from the threat of darkness. All major forces and cultivators in the world are heading towards the Kunlun Holy Land in an endless stream. At the same time, news soon came. The Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor, moving on the same day, are about to arrive at the Holy Land of Kunlun. The road to creation is really about to begin. The world is in shock. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 1185. Kunlun Holy Land. The cultivators from all over the world have gathered together, and the once sealed secret realm is now completely opened. The Holy Land of Kunlun seems to be a world of its own. These creatures look like relics from ancient time and space. Ancient source Qi, after the ancestors were divided up by the various imperial courts, the ancient saint source and others no longer exist, but there are actually many hidden in this secret realm. Entering the Kunlun Holy Realm makes outside cultivators extremely surprised. The mountains are majestic and densely covered with vegetation. Between the mountains, occasionally, there will be terrifying lines of heaven and earth origin energy, turning into divine beasts and rushing around, making all cultivators feel comfortable wherever they pass. This is simply a holy land for cultivation. Moreover, there must be the ancient holy source of the Fire Era hidden underground. It should be noted that this kind of thing is extremely precious. Even existences like the Thunder Emperor were conceived by the ancient holy source. Therefore, everyone who enters this place is ecstatic. This place is really nice. On a mountain road, a middle-aged man walked over with a look of joy on his face. This person is clearly Xuanhuan. That day, at the first fire mountain, Xuanhuan took advantage of Qing Chen to open the barrier, touched in, and lit 2 lamps of origin. Then, the Dark One was born, and the world was dark. As a result, the Master Jumper actually pointed out the direction for him and asked him to follow the Dark One's flames. This kind of thing has been done once before, so Xuanhuan did it without much hesitation. Sure enough, he succeeded in bringing the flame back. After coming along, Xuanhuan followed the instructions of Master Tiao, and began to control the black flame. Thinking of this, his mind entered his own Taoist landscape. How is it? Have you taken it? Xuanhuan spoke. As for the dancing master, he was sitting comfortably on the chair. Water Emperor and Thunder Emperor were massaging him. Hearing Xuanhuan's question, he casually pointed towards the depths of Daojing land. Xuanhuan glanced at it and saw that in the void of his Daojingdi, A black fire had been ignited. The monstrous black fire seemed to be destroying all living things and burning everything in the world. But above the monstrous fire, there was a small black tower rising and falling, suppressing the sea of fire. Otherwise, I am afraid that Xuanhuan's Taoist scenery will be directly burned down. Master, that flame is too scary. Thunder Emperor couldn't help but speak. Even though they were far away from the land of nothingness, they were still very palpitated. If it weren't for the great dancing master who was as steady as an old dog, he and the Water Emperor would not dare to stay here. And Xuanhuan, at this moment, felt a strange connection inexplicably. He felt that he seemed to be able to fly above the flames. That flame is like a garden that belongs to him. As soon as he thought about it, suddenly, a black flame appeared in his palm, beating like a ghost. This shocked both the Water Emperor and the Thunder Emperor, and they were so weak that they knelt down. The one who danced the great god looked at the scene calmly and said, "How about it? How does it feel to control the flame of extinction? Does it feel good? Do you want to destroy everything in this world and leave you alone in this world?" Aowu's eyes were a little dazed and he murmured, "A familiar feeling. But, destroy everything in this world?" Xuanhuan shook his head and said, "Forget it." He put away the black flame. "Do you know what the next realm is?" Tiao Dashan said. "Cast." Xuanhuan said, "I heard that in this realm, you need to find some peerless divine gold. After being tempered by the flames in the void, you can form a life palace. The life palace is strong enough to withstand the 5 subsequent earthquake disasters. Dance the great way. It's just nonsense. It's just an alternative method that the world came up with because the correct forbidden path cannot be taken. The real life palace requires finding the meaning of life." He smiled slightly and said, "Only the meaning of life can protect the world that belongs to you. But what about you? You have been running away all your life. What is the meaning of your life?" Ao Bao Bao. Hearing this, Xuanhuan scratched his head. What is the meaning of life? This question, he had never thought about it. How did I know? I was just a small character in the underworld fairyland, Shenjian City. Even now, the things I encounter are getting more and more outrageous. I am surprised myself. Xuanhuan muttered. Looking back now, I really looked like a bitch back then. However, after experiencing so many great catastrophes in the world, the descent of the Holy Spirit and the disasters of the Yang in the underworld, the ghosts in the sky and the destruction of the Brahma after the Yang world, and then to the sea of grey mist in the ancestral realm of chaos and the forbidden ancient road. Even in today's forbidden world, the appearance of the Dark One, the Stopper, etc. is a natural disaster that will destroy the world. As a result, I survived all the way in a daze. To be honest, my destiny seemed to be favored by someone. The big hand of fate. I heard that there is a pen named Geixen pen in this world, which can write anyone's destiny. Could it be that I am being targeted by this pen? Think slowly. The master dancer seemed to notice Xuanhuan's confusion and said, "When people live, they have to think. A life without reflection is meaningless." He patted Xuanhuan on the shoulder and said, "Let's go to Lianji Mountain first." Xuanhuan also nodded. "If you can't think clearly, then think about it later." Then, he left the road scene and continued on the road. And in the Tao Jingdi. "Jiao Da no, Senior?" Lei Emperor asked with some anxiety and said, "Could it be that you also laid the plan for the creation of the Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor? When their variables are realized, will your other souls come out?" He had to think this way. He didn't know whether it was because of the great god's evil sect or Xuanhuan's evil section anyway. This emperor was getting colder one after another. "Now, if you come to Kunlun Holy Land, you may not harm the Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor." But the dancing master smiled slightly and said, "You're getting smarter, but you were only half right. When their variables are realized, I will indeed be able to come out, but the road to creation was not created by me. Hearing this, Lady was surprised and said, "Who is that?" Master Tiao seemed a little sad in his eyes and said, "A stubborn little girl. Where is she now?" "Death. This land does already have the prototype of the world." At the same time, somewhere in the Kunlun Holy Land, two men came side by side, wearing black robes. Motai said, "Now that the immortal seed and the holy way have arrived, once the world stone is activated and the rules of time and space are constructed, they will really escape our control. It seems, the road to creation is really going to be completed." Hearing this, Mo Quan smiled and said, "Don't worry. If we don't give these ants some hope, how can they be willing to take this road? Everything is just a wedding dress, the immortal seed, the holy source, haha, in the end, they can only become the cornerstone of my mastery of the art of heaven." He is very confident. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 1186. Countless cultivators gathered in Kunlun Holy Land, and finally, they all gathered at the foot of Lianji Mountain, the highest mountain. There are a total of 108 peaks in the Kunlun Holy Land, and Lianji Mountain is the highest among them. Immortal seeds are scattered in the Kunlun realm, and the source of life flows into Lianji Mountain. In today's Kunlun Holy Land, on top of 108 peaks, you can see the fairy light blooming at a glance. There are countless fairy seeds growing, including fairy medicine, sacred trees, strange grasses, etc., which is dazzling. On Lianji Mountain, the sky is filled with light, there are shadows of huge columns, and there are jade books and copper scrolls rising and falling. Those are the endless rules of the Holy Way. The passages and ravines between Lianji Mountain and the 108 peaks look like 64 hexagrams, with 5 different directions and 4 images gathered together. It is a very initiating image between heaven and earth. This is Lianji Mountain. Look, that's someone from the Divine Moon Imperial Court. The people from the Burning Sun Emperor's Court are here, they are on both sides of Lianji Mountain. There are no less than 1 million people who have come to Kunlun Holy Land, and they are all waiting to watch the ceremony at this moment. Damn dog, I think you're reliable this time. Wu Date and his party finally arrived. Looking at the scene in front of them, Wu Date said, "Can this really become a world of one?" The big black dog was standing on a hilltop at the moment. It stood upright, as if looking into the distance, and said, "It was possible before, but not now. The most important world stone in the secret realm has been polluted by darkness. Once the creation ceremony is started, this world will evolve into a dark world, corroding the entire forbidden world from the inside." Hearing this, Wu Date was shocked and said, "Then what are you waiting for? Dig out the world stone quickly." Lu Rang also said, "Yes, the dark world stone, dig it out and have a look. Maybe you can grow some ivy or something." Since the last time Motai planted piranha flowers on his body, he is now full of interest in things in the dark. Because, he is a man who is determined to green the darkness. Do you think those dark world stones are so easy to find? But the big black dog had a calm face and said, "Those world stones are hidden and difficult to find unless the ritual is activated." Wu Date said, "That's not the end, when activated, this world will also become a dark world." But the big black dog suddenly sniffed, narrowed its eyes slightly, and said, "Something's not right, there's something wrong with this immortal seed and the holy origin chi. Wait and see." At this moment, among the crowd at the foot of Lianji Mountain, a man and a woman arrived hand in hand. Astonishingly, they were Mu Qianing and Wu Xiaokan. The two of them awakened the origins of their previous lives in the Holy Land, filled with the energy of the 12th yin and the sun. Therefore, they were already in the Kunlun Holy Land. Now, they are hiding in the dark and standing still. Boom! In the sky above the Kunlun Holy Land, a great emperor's way suddenly appeared. The avenue seemed to be made of moonlight. As the avenue appeared, the entire sky seemed to turn into black night. On that moonlit avenue, a peerless beauty walked slowly. Her appearance made everyone worship her instantly. Meet the Moon Emperor! Meet the Moon Emperor! The world shouted. She is one of the most famous emperors in the world, the Moon Emperor. Appearing at the same time as the Moon Emperor, on the other side of the sky, like a scorching sun, it merged into a river. On the flaming river, there was the shadow of a huge golden crow, fluttering its wings and flying high, as if it was about to sweep away the sky is burning. The true form of the Japanese emperor, the golden crow. He's here too. The two emperors of the sun and moon have gathered together, and the road to creation is really about to begin. The world shouted. The two imperial paths of the sun and the moon finally landed on Lianji Mountain. The Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor have both arrived. The Moon Emperor, dressed in a moon skirt, is unrivaled in elegance, with silver light flying all over the sky. The Japanese Emperor, on the other hand, was dressed in a golden robe, like a blazing flame, making it impossible to look directly at him. The two of them walked onto Lianji Mountain, on top of the ancient Lianji altar. The Lianji altar looks like a huge circular Tai Chi. Revisiting the old place. The Moon Emperor spoke softly. She looked at the Japanese Emperor opposite and said, "Back then, you and I were just waiting under the altar for the success of the Master's creation. Now, fate has fallen on you and me. The Japanese Emperor's true body is the golden crow. The Moon Emperor is the jade rabbit." They had followed the ancient Emperor of the Sun and the Empress of the Taiyan, and had witnessed the deaths of the two ancient emperors. After the death of the two ancient emperors, they grew up. Hearing this, the unruly Japanese emperor was silent for a moment and said, "They're all dead, it's our turn." Moon Emperor said, "Have you received a warning?" The Japanese emperor nodded and said, "Someone drew a talisman to remind me that there is a problem on the path to creation. Your and my movements are being watched by the darkness, perhaps, at this moment, they are in the Kunlun Holy Land." The Moon Emperor smiled and said, "But you're still here." The Japanese Emperor said, "Gotta give it a try. Master, we have to take care of the journey that they have not completed back then." After hearing this, the Moon Emperor nodded and said, "Let's start." As soon as the words fell, endless imperial energy suddenly burst out from beside the Sun and Moon Emperors. Boom! A big sun shines in the sky. It is the heat that warms the world, it is the light that shines all over the world. The huge sun disk pulls the vast source energy of the Holy Way, suddenly stirring Lianji Mountain. A divine moon shines upon the dark night, its silvery light is like water. It is the other side of the universe. It is soft, watery, and a bright star dream all over the sky. It makes the immortal seeds in the Kunlun Holy Land suddenly shine. The sun and the moon shine together, injecting unprecedented energy into this dusty holy realm. Immortal seeds and holy light gave this world the first seeds of civilization and the first light of humanity. At this moment, the ocean of cause and effect is boiling, and the long river of time seems to be inspired. In the vast holy realm of Kunlun, there was suddenly a huge world stone, connected to each other, and together they emitted eternal brilliance. Those world stones were found by the Taiyan Empress and the ancient Sun Emperor when they created the world. They are the cornerstones of the Kunlun holy realm. At this moment, under the inspiration of the creation ceremony, they carry the entire new world. The immortal land gives this pure land the energy to live. Holy land, give this world a future direction. The two emperors of the sun and moon are shouting. The immortal land and the holy land of creation are stirring in the sky above the forbidden world, and the steps of time appear above Lianji Mountain. They are the phantom steps entering the years. Creation. The two emperors of the sun and moon roar. At this moment, thousands of rays of light from the immortals in the Kunlun holy realm are created, and endless holy sources arise, as if a new world is being formed. The road to creation is really about to be completed. Can we really move into time? Avoid disaster, we can avoid disaster. The millions of cultivators who came to Kunlun Holy Land were extremely excited at this moment. On Lianji Mountain, under the altar, the people in the Burning Sun Imperial Court and the Divine Moon Imperial Court were also extremely excited. Creation. Such a great undertaking, our Imperial Palace of the Burning Sun will be completed. Junior brother Lin, you made the calculation correctly, everything went smoothly. Everyone in the Burning Sun Imperial Court was extremely excited. In the crowd, a young man dressed as a heavenly master smiled slightly. He looked towards the Divine Moon Emperor's court and his eyes fell on a girl in a purple skirt. The girl in the purple skirt is painting without any distractions. In the Divine Moon Emperor's court, a group of powerful elders and young talents were also excited. The creation of the world is about to be completed. The Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor will become the founding masters, and the marks of their heavenly hearts will be returned to the old heaven and earth. The saints of the Sun and Moon Emperor's court should have this blessing and control their old heavenly hearts. Mark. An old man shouted. This is a great opportunity. After the two emperors of the Sun and Moon become the founders, they will take charge of the Tianxin seal of the new world. The Tianxin seal they originally controlled when they were emperors will be dispersed and can be given to future generations to build a supreme foundation. Doc. Great, great. In the imperial court of the burning sun, a little golden crow flew out. It was the biological son of the Japanese emperor and his cultivation was extremely powerful. On the side of Xuanhuan Emperor Court, Yu Viang was also excited. She walked out, preparing to take over the Tianxin seal. At this moment, on the altar, the Sun Emperor and the Moon Emperor, the scorching sun and the divine moon reflected the vision, which was extremely shocking. Between the heaven and the earth, after the world stone was inspired by the immortal seed and the holy source, the original rules of heaven and earth gathered together to form a new life. The Tianxin seal is heading towards the Sun and Moon Emperors to gather together. The road to creation seems to be really going to succeed. After the two emperors of the Sun and Moon obtain the Tianxin mark of the new world, they will be able to control this world. Then, along the steps of time, they will enter the past years and disappear completely. The world is realizing it. Even in the darkness, I can no longer look at it. The two emperors of the Sun and Moon stood in the sky above the Lianji altar. They began to peel off the original Tianxin mark on their own initiative, preparing to welcome the Tianxin mark of the new world. Their peeled Tianxin seal was pulled by the formation prepared by the Sun and Moon Imperial Court, and headed towards Yu Viang and Little Golden Crow. I will become the emperor. Little Jinwu's eyes were full of excitement, and then, he suddenly felt like he was slapped and knocked unconscious. I saw Lin Zhizhen, but at some point, he appeared behind Little Golden Crow, holding a powerful talisman in his hand, and hit Little Golden Crow on the head. Little Golden Crow was already the king of Earth, and his cultivation was far above that of Lin Zhizhen. At this moment, his forehead was buzzing, but he did not faint completely. He pointed at Lin Zhizhen and said, "Who are you? Do you want to die?" Many of the masters in writing were also angry. Lin Zhizhen, get down. You want to compete for the Tianxin mark, are you worthy? Many masters are ready to take action. Lin Zhizhen, however, looked at Xiao Jinwu calmly and said, "I'll save your father." Little Golden Crow was extremely angry. And at this moment, Yu Viang on the other side suddenly exclaimed. She actually disappeared inexplicably from the center of the magic circle, and in the center of the magic circle, a girl in a purple skirt replaced her. That's Xiling. Xiling, what do you want to do? Do you want to compete for my chance? Yu Viang roared. Elders, Kill her quickly. However, Xiaoling also said, I'm sorry, you can't accept this Tianxin mark, otherwise something will happen to that little rabbit. Hearing this, everyone was even more furious. Bunny. Who dares to describe the Moon Emperor like this? Are you seeking death? How disrespectful. Kill them. The people from the Sun and Moon Imperial Court were all going to take action against Xiaoling and Lin Zhichen. But, right now. Boom. Suddenly, above the Lianji altar, the brilliant sun and the holy divine moon shook violently, as if they had been struck by some kind of catastrophic force, and were almost about to collapse. At the same time, a terrifying earthquake occurred. The earth shook, mountains collapsed, and the earth cracked. In the Kunlun Holy Land, which was originally peaceful and resembling a new world, an unprecedented disaster suddenly appeared. I saw that the dark stones supporting the entire Kunlun Holy Land erupted with unparalleled black light at this moment, as if they were going to kill all life and devour all living creatures. Dark runes lit up on those dark stones, swallowing up all the immortal seeds and holy sources that the Sun and Moon Emperors had worked so hard to fetch from the holy and fairy lands. The world is changing, and the origin is changing. This new world is still forming, but it is full of the power of great destruction and darkness. In an instant, the endless mountains in Kunlun Holy Land turned black. Those lush giant trees and grass suddenly turned into black creatures, exuding black mist. The birds in the sky and the animals on the ground also roared, and their eyes glowed with black light. No. There's a problem. This is not a real new world at all, it's a dark world. There's something wrong with the world stone, there's a big problem, run away. If we stay in this world, we will all be transformed into dark creatures very quickly. Everyone was panicked and wanted to run away in panic. However, at this moment, this world is almost completely formed. The border of darkness is already separated from the original forbidden world, and no one can escape. No. How could the world stone be replaced by the dark stone? The Japanese emperor spurted out a mouthful of the emperor's blood, and he fell to the ground slumped, his eyes filled with despair. It turns out to be like this. The Moon Emperor also staggered, and she said miserably, we were prepared to die, just for the success of the creation of the world, but we never thought that, the darkness was not preparing to target us, but to move against the cornerstone of the world. When we succeed in creating the world, we will be the wedding dress for them, darkness has already laid the ending on the road ahead. At this moment, the power of the two emperors was almost exhausted. Moreover, the mark of Tianxin was lost and their realm was greatly damaged. You two, please restore your Tianxin seal. At this time, Lin Zhichen spoke calmly, pointing at the Tianxin mark that the second emperor had just peeled off. Fortunately, the mark of Tianxin has not been swallowed up. Otherwise, at this moment, the two of us would really make Tiantian not respond and make the earth and earth inoperable. The Japanese emperor raised his hand with difficulty to accommodate the Tianxin seal again. The Tianxin seal returned to his body. His face looked better and he said, the mark of Tianxin is still there, so we still have the power to fight. He stood up with difficulty and looked at the gathering dark heavenly heart marks on the sky. Who are you? But after the Moon Emperor swallowed the Tianxin seal again, he looked at Xiling and Lin Zhichen. Before, it was you who painted to warn against the darkness. She looked at Xiling. Xiling said, it's me. But it doesn't matter now. You are ready to take us to escape. The Moon Emperor smiled sadly and said, this world has become a dark prison. The Japanese Emperor and I have trapped ourselves in a cocoon and cannot get out. I can't even take you to escape. But Xiling said softly, there is still a chance, we just can't defeat those hidden dark emperors. She looked deep into the sky. At this moment, the mark of dark heaven's heart has been completed. Ha ha ha. Deep in the sky, A proud laugh suddenly came, and two dark powerful men suddenly appeared. One of them, wearing a long and luxurious black robe, looked like a king. He sneered and said, "Thank you, ants, for creating this dark world for me. The mark of Tianxin that controls a whole new world, my art of controlling the sky is complete." He grabbed the dark Tianxin mark. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1187. At this moment, the cornerstones of the world have emerged and turned into darkness. Wow, that's it, these two people who are not human beings really are not human beings. The big black dog's eyes were shining, as if he had understood something, and said, "These two ungrateful men have already set up a trap, but it's not enough of a trap, let me come. It arranges directly. Those who grow grass, send peach roots oil, well water, Tian Makailan, and the original god Pu Kailan tree to Zi Ling and Lin Juchhan. Damn fat man, come with me and bring the bricks." It used great magic power to secretly send Lu Rang, Xiao Kailan, Xiao Tianma, and a sample brick towards Zi Ling and Lin Juchhan. Then, it took Wu Date and left quickly, heading towards so many world stones. Lin Juchhan and Zi Ling were both a little worried at the moment. Although they have made plans before to solve this disaster, what kind of damage will the two Dark Emperors cause to the Forbidden World? The second Emperor of the Sun and Moon, I'm afraid they can't stop him. But, at this moment, a familiar voice suddenly came to their ears. Suddenly, Lin Juchhan and Zi Ling's eyes lit up. That's it? Zi Ling's beautiful eyes glanced at the dark world stones, and then, suddenly lowered her head to paint. She actually took out a brick, as if analyzing the rules in the brick, and then lowered her head to paint. In the Kunlun Holy Realm, everyone looked at Tianyu, who was about to control Mo Quan's mark of the Dark Tianxin, and they were all in despair. No, Dark Emperor. They have arrived a long time ago and are waiting for you. The cornerstone of the world on the road to creation has long been polluted by them, creating a dark world. We are just making wedding dresses for others. Stop them, otherwise this dark world will even corrupt the entire forbidden world. They were shouting and roaring unwillingly. You dare! Stop! The Moon Emperor and the Sun Emperor were also shouting loudly at this moment. They dragged the injured Emperor's body and rushed towards Mo Quan to kill him. The divine moon comes again, and the sun shines again, although the flames have dimmed and the moonlight has been damaged. However, they rushed forward without hesitation. Haha, the sun and the moon will become my favorite corpses. But Moj had already stepped forward, and with a wave of his hand, behind him, densely packed corpses appeared on the second floor. That's an ancient zombie, with a green face and fangs, and a straight body. It was a red-haired, blue-eyed female vampire corpse with a hot body and dressed as seductively as a devil. It was a mummy wrapped in a white shroud. Its face could not be seen clearly, but it exuded an evil aura. All kinds of corpses, thousands of them. There are beauties, old people, monsters, different shapes. Feel the beauty of my harem. The silent corpse smiled and waved his hand, and thousands of corpses immediately started to kill the Sun and Moon Emperors. At this moment, the corpse aura was overwhelming and the corpses were dancing wildly. Among these corpses, there were even a few Emperor corpses, which were extremely powerful and immediately fought with the Sun Emperor and the Moon Emperor. And Mo Quan has begun to integrate the Tianxin seal. Finally. Boom. All the dark Tianxin marks were integrated into Mo Quan's body, and his aura suddenly increased. At this moment, everyone had an inexplicable feeling that Mo Quan had become the monarch of this world and the supreme master. He controls everything in this world. Haha, is this the pleasure of controlling everything? He felt that his heaven manipulating skills had reached the pinnacle of perfection. "Kneel down for me." Xuanhuan shouted loudly towards the Sun and Moon Emperors. This loud shout seems to contain the mighty power of a world, which can command the stars, sun, and moon. The faces of the Sun and Moon Emperors who were fighting with the Silent Corpse changed drastically. Their strength was already greatly damaged, but now they were hit by the power of this world. Both of them could not hold on and flew out. They were defeated. No. It's over. Are the two emperors of the Sun and Moon going to make the same mistake as the Taiyan Empress and the ancient Sun Emperor in the past? Everyone was horrified and completely desperate. Today, the only option is to fight to the death. The Japanese emperor evolved into the body of the golden crow, looked up to the sky and roared. "Fight again." The Moon Emperor also whispered, saying, "Why, Senior Tiao de Shen, was his foresight wrong? The immortal seeds are scattered in the Kunlun realm, and the holy source flows into the Lianji mountains. It is easy to create a world and wait for the heavens to change, but it is difficult to cross the gate of hell between life and death, or we have misunderstood the old man's meaning." She didn't know, but looking at the situation at the moment, she didn't think much about it. Instead, she smiled slightly and said, "Master, I was the only one who survived back then. Now, I'm here to see you." There was no regret in her eyes, but she seemed to feel that this was a kind of relief. Once upon a time, she was just a jade rabbit following the Taiyan Empress. Staying alone in the Moon Palace for eternity, relying on a few thoughts to survive until today. The two emperors of the Sun and Moon are both determined to die. It's not that easy to die. I will refine you into living corpses. The Silent Corpse has come to kill. Xuanhuan is whispering, saying, "That's not right. I've obviously taken control of this world, so why haven't I felt the true meaning of Silent Dao?" According to Moje's expectation, when Xuanhuan's heaven manipulating skills are perfected, he will be able to glimpse the true meaning of Mo Dao from the peak. After all, for a person who is obsessed with power, the best way to restrain his desire for power is to control the power of the world and understand his true nature. No matter what, kill these two ants first. He also took action towards the Sun and Moon Emperors and said, "Junior brother Moshi, let me help you." Then, carrying the power of the nine heavens, he blasted towards the Sun and Moon Emperors. "Don't be too fierce. I'll wipe them. If you beat them like this, they'll be reduced to a pulp. How can I refine the corpses?" Moshi hurriedly shouted. Xuanhuan was controlling the Tianxin seal at this moment, and it was as if he was going to destroy the world, bringing endless slaughter. However, the next moment, he was suddenly confused, because Xuanhuan's terrifying attack was actually coming towards him. "Xuanhuan, are you crazy? I am your junior brother," he shouted hurriedly. However, Xuanhuan shouted, "Two emperors of the Sun and Moon, I will destroy you." Then, an indiscriminate attack hit the Silent Corpse on the head. No. The Silent Corpse was directly blown away. He barely managed to steady himself and spit out a mouthful of black blood. However, countless of his treasured corpses were destroyed, and their limbs were flying everywhere, which was very miserable. No. Seeing this scene, Moji's mentality suddenly collapsed, and his eyes were filled with tears. Those corpses were treasures of his life and could be called works of art. Now, it was actually destroyed. Xuanhuan, you really think of yourself as an emperor? You're going to be in trouble after taking control of this world, right? Moshi gritted his teeth and said, "I'll beat you to death." However, Xuanhuan was a little confused at the moment. He looked at his hands and said in shock, "What just happened? Didn't I take action against the Sun and Moon Emperors? How could you hurt junior brother Moshi?" He raised his eyes and said hurriedly, "Junior brother Moshi, stop, there is a problem, there is a big problem." Shi approached with anger, but now he heard the words, but he was also a little suspicious and said, "What is the problem?" Quan said, "Come here quickly and show me. Is there something wrong with my origin?" Shi was startled and hurriedly approached. Then, he was grabbed by the neck by Shi, and then punched him in the stomach. "Ah, grass, Quan, I will fight with you." The corpse was in severe pain. However, Quan didn't stop at all, his cultivation burst out, as if he was going to beat Moj to death. "Junior brother Shi, run." Quan panicked. He slapped Shi on the face and said in horror, "There is a problem." Then he pushed his knee hard on Shi's abdomen. Shi's whole body was almost cramped. Quan was even more anxious and said, "Run." While telling Shi to run quickly, he brought out a big knife and chopped off Shi's legs. What the hell did I do? At this moment, Shi's mentality completely collapsed. And all the creatures in the entire Kunlun Holy Realm were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. It's just so confusing. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 1188. Quan beats Moj violently. Moreover, he was very cruel. In addition, Moj was unprepared, and now he was directly blinded. The key point is that even though he was being beaten violently, Quan actually beat him and told Shi to run away, and then chopped off his legs. What is going on? The Japanese emperor was simply confused. Could it be that after he took control of the Dark Sky Heart Seal, he became so greedy for power that he even wanted to kill his own people? The Moon Emperor was also speculating irresponsibly. The Japanese emperor nodded and said, "It's very possible." The other creatures also started to discuss it heatedly. What's going on? Two dark emperors actually killed each other, great. Beat him to death, beat him to death. Many creatures who were already desperate screamed. And in the sky, Quan is beating Moj now, which is called cruel. On the one hand, he was sincere and told Shi to run away and crawl away quickly, but on the other hand, he chopped off Shi's legs and hands. It's so perverted. Shi was driven crazy and said, "Quan, just wait for me." Then, his body suddenly exploded. It exploded into rotten minced meat on the ground. Only then did Quan stop. Looking up, he looked confused. What happened to myself? How involuntary. Are you being controlled? No, it's impossible. You are the one who learns the art of heaven, who can control you. Quan, just wait for me. If you treat me like this, let's see how you explain it to Master. At this time, in a space ahead, Moj's figure suddenly reappeared. Just now, Moj did not die directly, but left a substitute corpse to escape. Now, he doesn't stop and is ready to leave directly. But, right now. Boom. Suddenly, in the Kunlun Holy Realm, those dark world stones suddenly shattered, and they were replaced by bricks. What happened? What happened? Hey, why are these world stones cracked? What are those bricks? Everyone was shocked. The bricks that replaced the world stone looked so ordinary, as if they had been picked up from the wasteland of a remote mountain village. However, now an unprecedented world power has exploded. A brick can support a world, carry a galaxy, and support a universe. The bricks undulate and the auras they exude connect to each other, isolating the Kunlun Holy Land from the outside world, as if it is a world of its own. No, these bricks actually replaced the Dark World Stone. Where did the Dark World Stone go? Shi spoke in horror. I understand, it's these bricks that are causing my problems. Quan also reacted instantly and said with an ugly face. What I absorbed just now, was not the mark of the dark heart of heaven at all, but the rules contained in these bricks. Some people steal the sky and change the day, and some people steal the sky and change the day, junior brother Moshi. He shouted hurriedly. But at this time, a voice came and said, "You're ignorant. It's not that someone is cheating on you, but a dog is cheating on you." Thank you. Everyone's eyes gathered instantly. On top of a mountain peak, I saw a fat man holding a brick in his hand, and then smashed a dark world stone into pieces. Next to him, there was a big black dog with its tail raised high. It was so proud and mighty. Who is this? He actually used bricks to smash the dark world stone. How can it be? What kind of brick is that? It's a supreme artifact. All the creatures in the world were shocked at this moment, shouting and speaking. Damn fat man, what are you doing? Moshi was furious and said. Put down the bricks for me. Your bullshit bricks have damaged my world stone. The silent right means. Junior brother Moshi, no, it's that dog, that dog. He pointed at the big black dog next to the fat man, gritted his teeth and said. It's this piece of shit, damn it, it turns out to be it. At this moment, the two dark emperors were staring at the big black dog. Even the moon emperor was surprised at this moment and said. This dog, no, this senior, is he the roaring Huang from ancient legends? The Japanese emperor murmured, I heard from the master that this senior Xuanhuan is a huge pit. When I saw him today, he really lived up to his reputation. The big black dog, however, was proud and extremely disdainful, and said to Moquan and the others. Two little black grasshoppers are jumping around. Why aren't they jumping around? Moquan stared at the big black dog, as if he wanted to cut the big black dog into pieces with 1,000 knives, and roared. Dead dog, what on earth have you done? I have obviously obtained the Tianxin mark, you. He doesn't understand. The big black dog said contemptuously. With your intelligence, you still want to control the world. Two young men can destroy you without me taking action. After saying that, it turned to look at Lianji Mountain, spoke to Xiling and Lin Juzhen, and said. There are no other grasshoppers in the dark, so we can start creating the world. Hearing this, Xiling and Lin Juzhen walked out immediately. There is an extra picture scroll in Xiling's hand. In the scroll, there are actually millions of immortal species. As soon as she thought about it, at this moment, all the endless immortal species in the Kunlun Holy Realm had died. Then, the scroll in her hand flicked, and millions of immortal seeds scattered across the Kunlun Holy Land. And Lin Juzhen also showed himself in the Taoist scenery. In the Taoist scenery, there seemed to be a great river of yellow springs, rolling in, carrying countless holy Tao source energy, rushing into Lianji Mountain. At this moment, the same scene happened again. Immortal seeds are scattered in the Kunlun realm, and life sources flow into Lianji Mountain. Seeing this scene, the Sun Emperor and the Moon Emperor were instantly shocked. No. The previous immortal seeds were all fake. How is this possible? The Moon Emperor was shocked. The holy origin chi is also false, it is evolved from their own blood. The Japanese emperor said in a trembling voice. So, those dark stones were attracted out and were completely useless. The Tianxin mark that was finally formed lacked the foundation of the immortal way and the holy way. The dark world cannot be formed and will collapse. Moreover, Senior Xuanhuan also used that brick to replace the stone of darkness, changing the sky and changing the sun. What the Dark Emperor controls is not the mark of the dark sky heart, but the rules of the brick itself. They all understood. In fact, Xiling and Lin Juzhen were planning everything from the very beginning. They have already discovered that the road to creation is being watched, and once the world is created, big problems will occur. Therefore, when they went to the fairy land and the holy land, they had already changed the world. The fairy seeds and holy sources injected into the Kunlun Holy Land and Lianji Mountain were all the evolution of their blood. Because they have the origin of white mist, they can deceive so many great emperors by evolving. According to Zi Ling and Lin Zhuhan's method, the dark side's plan can be drawn out and the opponent's plan can be nullified. As a result, the big black dog arrived again and took their plan a step further, directly destroying the world stone and trapping Xuanhuan. False, it's all false. Xuanhuan gritted his teeth and said. But, even if the holy source of immortality is false, at most the dark world will collapse. Why would I be controlled? At this time, the Moon Emperor suddenly said. Because, you have become a painting slave. Her eyes fell on Zi Ling, and at this moment, she seemed to understand everything. She has already guessed Zi Ling's identity. Once, one of the 12 ancestors, the one who was good at painting. Zi Ling also smiled slightly and said to Xuanhuan. Originally, it takes a lot of effort to draw you, but you have absorbed brick's rules unconsciously, so, I can just draw brick. Just now, the big black dog gave her a sample brick. At that moment, she was controlling the rules of Xuanhuan. When she controlled that rule, and Xuanhuan also absorbed that rule as the mark of Tianxin. Xuanhuan has become her slave. Otherwise, no matter how strong Zi Ling is in painting, it will still be extremely difficult to draw a dark emperor into the painting. I'm going to kill you. Hearing this, Xuanhuan became furious and was about to attack Zi Ling. However, Zi Ling smiled and said. Be good and don't disturb our creation. Well, you should kneel down first. As soon as he finished speaking, Xuanhuan knelt on the ground, unable to move. Which, I'll kill you. At this moment, Shi was completely angry, and he was about to rush towards Zi Ling. But, at this moment, he suddenly felt a buzzing sound on the back of his head, as if he had been slapped hard by something, and then the whole person fainted. Behind him, Lin Zhuhan appeared at some point, holding a brick in his hand. That brick is the same brick that Zi Ling used to paint before. Tisk, these bricks are very useful. Lin Zhuhan looked at the bricks and spoke in admiration. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 1189. In the Kunlun Holy Realm, the two Dark Emperors have been subdued at this moment. Is this resolved? It's incredible. Who exactly are they? Two Dark Emperors, one was controlled by others, and the other was knocked down by a brick. It's simply outrageous. Countless creatures were stunned. At this moment, countless immortal species are growing on the foundation of the world built by bricks, and the rules of the Holy Way are integrated with the endless rules emanating from the bricks. Great work of light. The light of creation, this is the real light of creation. Now is the beginning of the real creation. One by one, everyone became excited. At the same time, the vast light of creation fell on the entire Kunlun Holy Land, reflecting the souls of the people. Among the crowd, two rays of light suddenly burst out like a rainbow. It was a ray of lunar light, like silver moonlight, soft water waves, and refreshing drizzle. It was the dark side of the world. The other is the light of the sun, golden and vast, like a furnace fire lighting up the dawn, like the fire of civilization traveling across the stars. Taiyan and sun, symbiotic. What, master? The Japanese emperor was suddenly startled. He looked in the direction of the sun's light and saw a young man walking step by step among the crowd. It was Wu Xiaoqan. He was illuminated by the light of creation, completely activating the power of the sun at this moment. Illusory steps appeared under his feet, one like a road leading to time. Master, you are back, you are reborn. The Moon Emperor also exclaimed. She was very excited and stared at a girl. Mu Qianing. What, these are the Taiyan Empress and the ancient Sun Emperor, Aren't they already dead? Reborn, they are reborn. The lunar sun has reappeared. This life is worthy of being a golden world. The world is really about to be created. The world was shocked. Under everyone's attention, Wu Xiaoqan walked up to the sky and evolved the endless power of the sun. At this moment, the power of the entire Kunlun holy realm was added to him, causing his realm to skyrocket. His Dao scenery was released, and in that scenery, at this moment there were 5 calamities such as shocking floods, terrifying earthquakes, eternal droughts, poisonous snakes, locusts and wolves, and earth fire, impacting his life palace. That is, the realm of earthquakes. There are 5 tribulations in earthquakes, and the 5 tribulations are mysterious and unpredictable. In the past taboo roads, people generally relied on the life palace to overcome the tribulations. Therefore, casting the life palace often required the selection of various rare metals for smelting. When the immortal seed comes out, it will suppress 5 calamities. Wu Xiaoqan roared. In his Taoist landscape, there is a sunflower, blooming with brilliance. It is the fairy seed he got from the fairy land. At this moment, it has evolved endless power to resist the 5 calamities. The power of the fairy lotus suppressed the floods in the sky, calmed the movement of the earth, and wiped out all kinds of snakes, insects, and poisonous rats. This is the true forbidden path. Facing the 5 earthquakes, we don't rely on the strength of the life palace at all, but use immortal seeds to compete. No wonder the forbidden world has taken the wrong path. From the moment the immortal seed was missing, the outcome was doomed. Everyone is suddenly enlightened. Not only Wu Xiaoqan, but Mu Jianing also experienced similar changes. She stands on the earth, and the endless Mother Earth energy pours into her body, causing her Tao Jing land to be released and her life palace to emerge. At the same time, the 5th calamity came, and her fairy seed, a Taiyan banana tree, stood up from the sky and grew through all the calamities. This is the true forbidden path. The big black dog opened his mouth and said, "The true forbidden path allows everyone to become the creator of the world." In the realm of earthquakes and the impact of 5 catastrophes on the palace of life, it is originally a test of life and must be resisted with the power of life. In this way, the Daojing land was born. Only if your life has the tenacity of life can you grow vigorously. The road to the forbidden world has all gone wrong. Using precious metals to resist the 5 calamities, even if the life palace barely survives, reaching the final state will be nothing but a mirage. Next to it, Wu Dade suddenly said in horror, "Damn dog, what's going on? I'm in a scene, something is in trouble." He opened the Dao Jingdi and saw that it was also a disaster. The floods were raging, the earth was cracking, and the landslides were falling. Moreover, this scene was much scarier than that of Mu Jianing and Wu Xiaoqan. "Dead dog, what should I do?" Wu Dade was shocked and asked questions hurriedly. The big black dog said contemptuously, "Ignorant human pet, use your mace and do it." When Wu Dade heard this, he gritted his teeth and fought hard. He thought about it, and the molten gold ancestral tree growing in his scenic spot was now covering the sky and the sun, suppressing all calamities. The other side. In Lu Rang's Taoist landscape, the grass he planted grew crazily. Lin Zhujian and Zi Ling are in the realm of living soil, waterproofing, holy fire, and life palace. Their understanding has already been enough, but they are missing the most supreme thing in the small mountain village. Now, the peach root soil, well water, etc. have turned into the boundless land and boundless ocean, the original divine grapes and unicorn trees have turned into crazy growth, the holy fire is burning, and life is the palace appears. Then, they were also illuminated by the power of creation, triggering the 5 calamities of the earth. Collective breakthrough. After suppressing floods, changing droughts, killing poisonous insects, etc., the earth in their Taoist scenery was changing. Wherever the floods passed, fertile plains became, where drought disappeared, ravines grew, loess spread, and mountains formed, where poisonous insects died, tiny primitive organisms slowly emerged. After 5 tribulations, the great place will see real vitality. At this moment, on their land, other creatures suddenly began to appear and begin to grow. Grass sprouted from the ground, bringing a little greenness to the earth. The small tree sprouted branches and covered the mountains and fields with new clothes. In the soil, tiny insects are born, absorbing the energy in the soil, and turn into ants. The earth truly has life. Today, Ziling, Linjujian, Lurang, Wudade, Mujianing, and Wuxiacan have all entered the realm of earthquakes and can be called kings of earth. In the outside world, the power of creation is still growing, the heaven and earth are undergoing great changes, and the sky is moving. The land of Kunlun Holy Land is full of fairy seeds, almost completely separated from the outside world. Immediately afterwards, the sky in this world was also changing, and suddenly a sky fire descended. The creation of the world was not allowed by God, and it will be subject to natural disasters. Wuxiacan and Mujianing faced the natural disaster. At the same time, in their Taoist scenery, the rebirth of life also aroused the jealousy of heaven, with the coming of heavenly fire, the stirring of heavenly thunder, the bursting of heavenly wind, the attack of heavenly beasts, and the fall of heavenly sword. This is shocking. Shocking realm, they even moved across the ground, and were shocked by the sky. This is too outrageous. In the ancient Forbidden Road, earthquakes and heavenly shocks are inherently connected. Earthquakes cause heavenly shocks. The Emperor of Japan, looking at Wuxiacan, had tears in his eyes. He suddenly evolved into the true form of the golden crow, then soared into the sky and entered Wuxiacan's Taoist scenery. "Master, I'm coming." Its golden wings shook the sky, appeared in the scenery of Wuxiacan Road, soared into the sky, and fought for Wuxiacan against natural disasters. Is the legend true? The shocking realm is related to mythical beasts. Fairy seeds suppress earthquakes, and mythical beasts resist natural disasters. There are secrets passed down through the ages. Divine beasts are born from changes in the sky, they represent the oldest divine way. The world was shocked. At this moment, the Sun Emperor's golden crow and Wuxiacan's thoughts were united. It was once the life beast of the ancient Sun Emperor, and now it has returned without any hesitation. And in Mujianing's Taoist scenery, the Moon Emperor Jade Rabbit also came. She turned into a white rainbow light, extinguishing the sky fire, blocking the sky thunder, and suppressing the changes in the sky. Mujianing and Wuxiacan are fighting against the real natural disasters in the Kunlun Holy Realm. Fairy seeds suppress earthquakes, mythical beasts resist natural disasters. The meaning of life is to fight, fight with the sky, fight with the earth, wrest a glimmer of life and a way to survive from the dead universe. This is what the Master created Forbidden Road. At this moment, the big black dog looked at the scene in front of him, his eyes full of excitement, and said, "The immortal way conforms to the way of heaven, the holy way only exists in the human world, the divine way is born from changes in the sky, and the ancient chaotic way is as hazy as fog. There is only the forbidden way, which does not obey the heavens, does not respond to the earth, and is not afraid of disasters. Everyone resists. So, immortals, saints, gods, and chaos can only be the foundation of the forbidden way, and the forbidden way can bloom the flower of life forever." Beside it, Wudade scratched his head and said, "Damn dog, can you speak human language?" "Fat Master, I don't understand." When the big black dog heard this, he became angry and said, "Human pet, why did I raise such an uneducated idiot like you? Open the Dao Jingdi." When Wudade heard this, he immediately opened his Taoist scenery. Then, the big black dog suddenly entered. It swaggered into the Wudade Taoist scenery. In the scenic spot of Wudade Dao, a vast natural disaster suddenly came. In the scenery of Xiling Road, Pegasus flies across the sky at extremely fast speeds. In the scenic spot of Linjujuan Road, there are thousands of auspiciousness and infinite auspicious light, and the little unicorn resolves the disasters of the heavens. In the scenic spot of Lurang Dao, the ancient sacred bull roared towards the sky. Its body was like a mountain, carrying thunder and swallowing fire. They are all experiencing a shocking state. At this moment, the outside world, between the heaven and the earth, there are thousands of auspicious colors and rainbows, the mother energy of the earth lingers, and the sky is full of black and yellow colors. Countless people in the world feel this. The heaven and earth are filled with great joy. Has anyone became the emperor of heaven? No, there is no abnormal movement in the Zhu Tianxin mark. This is not the image of the emperor of heaven. This is the earth tremor and the earth trembling, the earth trembling and the earth trembling in myths and legends. What, earth shaking and earth shaking, can this realm cause such waves? A dark place. Wrong. The Dark One suddenly opened his eyes and said, "Someone has taken the forbidden road to an earth-shattering and shocking state." He frowned and said, "Since the immortal seeds have emerged, it is not surprising that some people can reach the realm of earthquakes. However, the divine way has long been extinct and there are no divine beasts in the world. Who can survive the 5 natural disasters? The only ones that can be called divine beasts are the golden crow and the jade rabbit. However, they have become emperors. How can they be willing to enter other people's human landscapes and become divine beasts? Besides, they shouldn't take the path of creation. Has it been abolished? They are also very clear about the forbidden path. Immortal seeds are the key to surviving the earthquake realm. However, after the earthquake, life will be born in the Daijing land, and life will lead to natural disasters. Natural disasters, in the taboo road created by that one, must lead the sacred beasts of Shinto civilization into Tao scenery to suppress them. Immortal seeds suppress earthquakes, and mythical beasts resist natural disasters. But, in today's world, are there still mythical beasts? No matter what, we have to stop it, otherwise, after the disaster, someone may want to create a way, and even if a creator appears, we won't be able to allow it." The Dark One whispered, and suddenly there were 2 dark rays of light in his eyes, shooting towards the forbidden world. "Senior brother." He wanted to say something else, but he suddenly thought that maybe this could lead that person to release the origin of Shinto. He stopped immediately. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert." Author, Goexin. Chapter 1190. Small Village. It's already summer, but this year's climate seems a little abnormal and the weather is a little cold. Li Fan sat under the peach tree, drinking tea and reading a book. "Is Xiao Li at home?" Outside the small courtyard, the second uncle's voice came. "Yes, please come in." When Li Fan opened his mouth, Gong Ya had already stepped forward to open the door. "I saw the second uncle and Uncle Zhang walking in together." "Second uncle, Uncle Zhang, why are you here? Please sit down quickly." Li Fan put down the book and said with a smile. "Gong Ya, go get some tea." Gong Ya went to pour tea, while the second uncle and Uncle Zhang sat next to Li Fan. There seemed to be a trace of hesitation on the second uncle's face, not knowing how to speak. "Second uncle, what's the matter?" "But it doesn't matter." After hearing this, the second uncle said. "Xiao Li, that's it, I had a dream last night." Li Fan was confused. "Dream?" The second uncle nodded and said. "I dreamed that our village was hit by a disaster. The roads were broken and the houses collapsed. In the black fog, ghosts were running around, and the villagers were devoured and eaten by the ghosts. Even a piece of grass, no tree can survive. His expression was solemn. When Li Fan heard this, he smiled and said, "Second uncle, don't worry. This is just a dream. Go to bed early and get up early. Practice more. Don't worry. You have worries every day and dreams every night." But the second uncle was anxious and said, "Xiao Li, you don't know, it's not just me, Lao Wang also had the same dream as me. This is definitely going to cause a big problem." Hearing this, Li Fan couldn't help but be surprised. Two people had the same dream. This sounds very strange. He looked at Uncle Zhang and said, "Uncle Zhang, did you dream about it too?" Uncle Zhang nodded and said, "The content of my dream was less, only the black fog descending, but there seemed to be ghosts in the fog." Li Fan pondered for a moment and said, "So, you came to me to interpret dreams?" The second uncle nodded and said, "Yes, this dream is very similar to what the great dancer said back then. He is probably dead, so I want you to see it." But Li Fan was curious and said, "What did the great dancer say?" The second uncle said, "I can't remember a little bit. I only remembered 1 or 2 sentences in the past few days. It seems to be, what, the village is ruined and the people are dead. The grass is gone, and the supreme things of the past have become dust, farewell all forgotten. The village is destroyed and the people are dead, and the grass is gone? Has the supremacy of the past turned into dust?" Li Fan felt that this great dancer was really good at deceiving. It's his fault again. However, Li Fan also took it seriously and immediately said, "Then, let me interpret your dreams for you too." Li Fan paused and said, "Mist is colorless in nature. It appears alternately between day and night. It appears when the tide rises and falls. It is white during the day and black at night. And the darkest time is dawn. The black mist you dream of has nothing to do with the mist, but has to do with the weather. When the day has not appeared, it appears at the peak of the night. At this time, when people's hearts are fearful and demoralized, it is easy to see ghosts running rampant and devouring living beings." He smiled slightly and said, "But it's already dawn after all. After dawn, light finally appears. When day comes, you will find that the mist in the dark night is as intoxicating as pearls." The second uncle and Uncle Zhang were both thoughtful. "Xiao Li, I understand what you mean, but what the great master says often comes true in the end. Even if there is a turn for the better, then the villagers." Li Fan smiled and said, "If a disaster does occur, it will be fine if the villagers go out first to avoid the disaster. The sky is so big and the earth is so big that there is no place where it cannot fit." The second uncle and Uncle Zhang were speechless for a moment. And Li Fan said, "Gong Ya, bring me the pen and ink." Gong Ya immediately brought up the pen and ink. "Uncle Zhang, do you still remember the calendar hanging on your wall left by the dancing master?" Li Fan asked. Uncle Zhang nodded and said, "Of course, there is only one piece left in the calendar. The master said that when the last piece of the calendar is torn off, everyone will die." Li Fan leisurely smiled and said, "Then, if I tell you, not only will the last calendar not disappear, but the other calendars will also reappear, would you believe it?" He found that Uncle Zhang and the second uncle really believed in the dancing master. Therefore, we still have to start with the prophecy of the great master Tiao to give them some confidence. Otherwise, he would just prepare to study the calendars himself at the beginning, and not tell others. The pen and ink were already waiting for me, so Li Fan picked up the pen. He started painting. This time, he drew the third calendar. The one with the word God on it. In the past few days, he had repeatedly thought about it. With the foundation of the immortal and holy path calendars, he felt confident enough to deduce the contents of the Shinto calendar. When the brush came down, Subakian, Duguyuking, Qing Chen and others beside them all moved, and they looked over in surprise. Master, do you want Shinto time and space to reappear? Forbidden world, huge earthquake in Xuanhuan. Various visions are emerging in the world. It seems that fire from the sky descends and burns out all life, a hurricane sweeps across the rivers, destroying everything. There is a series of thunders from the sky that shake the sky. It seems that an earthquake breaks out and the earth shakes violently. There is a flood pouring down the world, destroying all life. There are all kinds of poisonous insects, snakes, and ants passing through the world. The earth is shaking and the sky is shaking. This is the earth shaking and the sky is shaking. The whole 9 continents are feeling it. What kind of earthquake is this? Has anyone walked through the forbidden road in ancient legends? This is the true meaning of the Golden Age. The forbidden road can finally be opened. We have hope. But, right now. Suddenly, there were 2 astonishing eyes, which instantly reached the forbidden world and passed over the 9 continents of the forbidden world. These 2 eyes seemed to be able to swallow up even the darkness. Wherever they went, they covered the sky and the sun, making the world feel like it had entered a dark night. The darkness of that day has returned. Darkness, it was darkness that took action. The road to creation was shaken and the earth was shaken. This aroused the fear of darkness. Will it be strangled? The world is in panic. 2 beams of darkness, like eyes, appeared in the sky above Kunlun Holy Land in an instant. The current Kunlun Holy Land is almost becoming a world, leaving Xuanhuan, but as soon as these 2 eyes arrive, sudden changes occur. When darkness comes, it seems to have cut off the connection between this new world and the ocean of cause and effect, blocking the interweaving of time and space. The entire new world of Kunlun Holy Land that was about to be born suddenly fell into eternal darkness at this moment. Dark One. The Supreme Dark One. The darkness has taken action again. Is this a repeat of fate? Once upon a time, the Taiyan Empress and the ancient Sun Emperor were strangled. Now they are reborn, but they still have the same ending. At this moment, everyone in Kunlun Holy Realm was extremely nervous. The whole world seems to have fallen into darkness, and in the darkness, Ziling, Lin Zhuzhan, Lu Rang, Wu Dade, Mu Jianing, Wu Xiaokan and other cultivators who have ignited the holy fire are like the faint light of dawn. As if being swallowed by the darkness. Of course, this is the moment. Boom. It seems that there is a stroke falling from 9 heavens above. Bringing up the endless divine time and space, it spread across the world, and even the darkness suddenly disappeared. A dark space of earth, as if summoned from death. That is the remnants of the once dead Shinto civilization. The land of Shinto civilization no longer has any charm. It is filled with black mist. It is also infected by darkness like fairyland and holy land. And on the steps of time deep in the divine world, a girl wearing a black dress, eyes closed indifferently. There was nothing around her, unlike the Dark One and the Stopper, who were accompanied by the dark holy fire and the dark rose. And at this moment, in the sacred realm of Kunlun, somewhere in a mountain forest, a middle-aged man subconsciously looked at the floating soil of the god realm, and suddenly lost his voice. Little monkey. Xuanhuan was extremely surprised. Does anyone remember this little monkey? Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Goi Xin. Chapter 1191. A single stroke in the sky scares away the eyes of the Dark One and calls back the world of Shinto. The world of Shinto has emerged, and the vast dark divine world is like the fairyland and holy land of the past, floating on the 9 continents. In that Shinto world, billowing black mist was like a great tide, and in the great tide, there seemed to be countless roars of sacred gods resounding. Yu Baifang's dying cry echoes through the years. Yu Qianqi's dying unwillingness echoed through time and space. There is the exploded flesh and blood of a giant dragon, reflected in the illusion. The Shinto civilization gave birth to countless shocking behemoths that were famous throughout the ages, such as Qianqi, Bifang, Fei, etc., but they all died out in the end. Now, all that is left in the god realm is black mist, lifeless. On the steps of time deep in the black mist god realm, the girl was wearing a long black dress and sitting alone. There was no dark rose or dark holy fire beside her. Her closed eyes slowly opened at this moment. I heard the 10 spirits quietly reviving, and I heard the 10 medicines growing. She opened her mouth and whispered. I heard the damned people, but they came back again. She suddenly stood up. At this moment, we could see that there were several thick black iron chains on her jade feet, which penetrated directly through her ankles, as if locking her on the steps of time. Now, the dark place, before the dark throne. He took action, he really took action and brought back the Shinto time and space. The dark man's face was filled with surprise and he said, if this continues, it won't be long before the creator of the complete taboo will really appear in this world. After the earthquake and the heavenly shock, comes the creation of the Dao. Those who create the way are called great emperors, and the great emperors who prove the true forbidden path can become the creators of the world and can create the pure land of life, which is not tolerated by darkness. No need to worry. He just smiled and said, that's great, so what if there are countless more creators in the world? We can slowly kill them one by one. By doing this, the origin of Shinto should also be lost, right? His realm will fall soon. Kill him, even if the creators everywhere are fine. When the dark man heard this, he was also deep in thought and said, now, the divine way of time and space has emerged, and senior brother's way will appear. Do you want to ask Master to come forward? Senior brother's way will make all the creatures in the forbidden world die. Once the people he cares about die, he will only take crazy action. At that time, senior brother's way will probably kill all the creatures in the forbidden world. It will also collapse. There was worry in his words. Even if that person's realm is already unstable by then, it is definitely not something they can compete with. The stopper said in a deep voice. In the past, senior brother, I had already proven the unparalleled way, but due to the troubles of my ape mind, I rebelled against my superiors and betrayed my master. The master took away his Tao fruit, killed his ape mind, and restrained him on the steps of time. Now, what if the economy really collapses? This is all deserved. Moreover, after losing many of his origins, he just needs a battle to make his already shaky state completely fall. The unparalleled way is just the right thing to use for this sword. In order for the ants in this world to follow the forbidden path, he had to personally take action and erase the unparalleled path in the divine soil. Then you and I can see how much strength he has left. This is a calculation. They are waiting for another person on the dark throne to take action. Hearing this, the Dark One was silent for a long time before saying, in the past, senior brother single-handedly destroyed the time and space of the Shinto, killed the giants of the Shinto, and was astonishingly talented. He obtained the unparalleled way, but at the end, a monkey from the time and space of the Shinto disrupted the Taoist mind, and even died. Dao Xiao, that monkey really deserves death. It's just that that monkey also contained his final Dao fruit. It would be a pity to be destroyed together. The stopper said. Worth it? He smiled slightly and said. The disappearance of the unparalleled way, in exchange for that person's realm falling, is worth it? And at this moment, Tabujas who? The world was shaken, when the dark god realm appeared, and when the girl on the steps of the years stood up, everyone in the world felt a great panic inexplicably. It's as if oneself is about to disappear. Her appearance made me almost destroyed and disappear. I have an illusion that no one can stand with her. What kind of way is this? Rejecting all living beings except her? She just appeared, and this world can no longer tolerate others. At this moment, many people are inexplicably palpitating, whether they are in the sun or hiding in the darkness, whether it is a spiritual bird flying in the sky or a beast running on the ground. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what your level of cultivation is. When you coexist with her, you will be killed and destroyed. The world where she lives will not tolerate the appearance of a second creature. Wang, the unparalleled way, the way to cut off descendants and exterminate the descendants, the way of the evil star. In the Kunlun Holy Land, the big black dogs are whispering, and there seems to be a trace of fear in the dog's eyes. Dead dog, the unparalleled way, what is it? Wu Dade asked in shock. One of the supreme ways are absolute rules and irresistible avenues. The big black dog explained calmly and said. Darkness has no light. Wherever it is a prison of darkness. All light will disappear, and the senses of all living creatures will be blinded until they perish. There is no movement when there is stillness. Wherever it goes, there is a realm of stagnation. All movement and stillness will stop. The thoughts and movements of all living creatures will become rigid, as if dead. A solitary person is unparalleled. Wherever he goes, no one else can survive except himself. All creatures in the same place with him will suffer annihilation and disappear into thin air. Hearing this, Wu Dade and others were shocked. The Lonely One is unparalleled. Then, who is the strongest among the Stopper, the Dark One and the Lonely One? Wu Dade continued to ask. The big black dog said, Ignorant human pet, you are stupid. The Stopper can make the solitary unable to move, and the Dark One can also make the solitary fall into a dark prison, but they themselves will die in front of the solitary. Wu Dade was shocked and said, In that case, wouldn't a lonely person be invincible? The big black dog said. Of course it's not invincible, but it's still okay to be among the top few. Well, it's just a little weaker than this emperor. Hearing this, Wu Dade became curious and said, Damn dog, you are also supreme? What kind of way are you? How high can you rank in the world? The eyes of the big black dog were distant and deep, like an eternal power, with the lonely demeanor of a master, and said. This emperor's way cannot be explained. As for ranking, it showed a meaningful smile and said. Second in the world. Damn dog, you can die if you don't brag, right? Wu Dade didn't believe it at all. Wow, my darling, how dare you doubt this emperor? The big black dog is talking. At this moment, deep in the dark floating earth, on the steps of time, the girl in black skirt stood up. She looked at everything that happened in front of her and whispered towards the paintbrush waterfall above the sky, saying. The sacred land has been destroyed, and the divine way is empty. Even if the divine soil is retrieved, it will only be in vain, meaningless. All life will return to darkness and nothingness. The birth of life has violated the original law of the universe. Her eyes were so calm and indifferent, and the black mist was undulating, and she said. I am here. Even if you abandon your own Shinto origin and let the divine land reappear, they will all die because of me. The Shinto is destined not to be revealed, and the forbidden road is destined to be unreachable. Xuanhuan, I am willing to take the place of the orphan and fight with the seniors. When she opened her mouth, her dazzling black eyes seemed to be piercing through the heavens, as if they were trying to trace the brush that led to the divine way of time and space and fly away from the sky. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in the dark god realm. Little monkey, don't wait to die, hurry up, run away with me. Hearing this voice, the girl in black skirt was suddenly startled. At this moment, a picture suddenly flashed across her. That was countless years ago, when she was still the princess of the six-eared macaque tribe in the god realm. At that time, the unparalleled way came, the Shinto civilization was in trouble, blood flowed into rivers, corpses piled up into mountains, and countless powerful mythical beasts died. The whole world is filled with darkness. She is the last living person, running in the night, with almost no hope of living. The clan tries their best to send her out of the world to avoid being unparalleled. Kill. When she arrived at the steps of the years, she found a middle-aged man. He sat cross-legged on the steps of time, his body covered in blood, like a sculpture, his whole body was shaking. She thought he was from the god realm, so she hurriedly called him. "Uncle, don't wait to die, hurry up, run away with me."